down.
Hey, this is called Leaders in the Making. It's really just about building leaders and training up leaders. I've been on staff here for 15 years-ish, and started out as an intern, and we needed a college ministry at that time, and so Pastor Rick asked my wife and I to start the college ministry, and we did that, and then the internship was up, and he hired us, and it has been a whirlwind ever since. It's been so fun. It's been so challenging. I've learned a lot. And but one of the biggest things that I've taken away from the past 15 years of being on staff here, and just leadership in general, had just a couple years of being in leadership before New Life, is that, can y'all hear me in the back? Okay. It's hard to accomplish everything that God's called you to without building leaders around you. And so I'm going to give you a ton of notes and about things that I've learned personally and things I've learned from just Pastor Rick and some of the things that I've seen and noticed. And there's a scripture in Matthew 9. It says, when he saw the crowds, talking about Jesus, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send workers into his harvest field. And God's heart is that people be taken care of, that people would be shepherded, like they would be taken care of. And he is saying that there's not a harvest problem, there's a worker problem. And you could also say there's a leadership problem. There's a lack of people that want to step up and sacrifice and do the things that most people won't do, or there's a lack of people that haven't been invited to. I know for someone like me, I had natural leadership gifts inside of me, but it took my college pastor at Chi Alpha over here at UCA, and I had just gotten my life right with God. I had just come out of drugs and alcohol and all this stuff, and I started going to this ministry over at UCA because my sister had been before. She's a couple years older than me. And I had been in church. Listen, I had been in church, my whole life. And back then, it was like, some of you grew up like this. It wasn't just like Sunday morning for an hour and 15 minutes in a life group, you know. It was like Sunday morning, Sunday school, big church, potluck, go home, take an hour nap, come back. Sunday night church, more preaching, special song by Cynthia or whoever felt like leading a song, you know. And then it was Wednesday night church, youth group, or big church again, and then everything throughout. I remember I loved baseball growing up. It was my passion. I loved baseball. And when our games would get rained out, they would get rescheduled for Wednesday night. And my parents wouldn't let me go play because I had to go to church. So we were in church just like all the time. But Noble Bowman was the college pastor at Chi Alpha. This was before I even knew New Life existed. And he said, hey, I want to go to lunch with you. I was like, oh my gosh, this is weird. I don't want to. I just stopped smoking marijuana. You know, like I don't know what you're doing. Are you going to correct me? Like my whole life, no one had ever taken an interest in me as far as a pastor, a youth pastor, a church leader. And I met him at this place over here in Conway across from Second Baptist, like burgers and what's that place called over here? No, they have like off of Harkrider. I don't know. They have like shawarmas and gyros.
The Blackwood Grill.
Blackwood Grill.
Yeah.
I remember Blackwood Grill, and he sat me down and paid for my burger or whatever. He was like, Jason, you're a leader. He said, I see a leadership gift in you. And I'm just like trying to make sense of this. No one had ever said that to me, ever. No one had ever invested in me. No one had ever affirmed a gift or a calling they had seen in me. And so that started what would be, so ever since then I've been a leader. He literally, from that moment, he put me in a leadership position. He threw me in, and then it led to New Life. I met Ashley in Chi Alpha, and she was already going to New Life, And just ever since then, I have been leading. And come to find out, God had put leadership gifts in me, but it took someone inviting me. It took someone grabbing me and being bold with me. And that's a lot of what it takes when it comes to whatever you do. Some of you are pastors, a lot of you are not. But you have a lot of responsibility. And you have the freedom to get people to help you do what you do, which means you can do more. And if we were going around the room and we were to poll every single person, what is the tension in your life right now, besides personal life, in your ministry, it would probably be around the subject of there's a lack of leaders. There's a lack of leadership. There's not enough people like me, because you sacrifice and you serve and you put a lot of what you want to do on the shelf to do your job. And whether that's volunteer, full-time, part-time, and you are having a hard time finding people that want to join you in that. Would that be some of what you feel in your life? Hopefully some of this stuff will help. Well, this is some things I've learned over the years. What happens when we aren't making leaders? Let me give you a few things. Number one, we lose energy. We lose energy. This is why top leaders burn out, is because they don't have people around them. We get tired, we're doing too much. Story in the Bible in Exodus 18, story of Jethro and Moses. And Jethro was Moses' father-in-law. And I mean, not many people want their father-in-law telling them what to do, but basically what was happening is Moses was doing all the work. Like, everybody was coming to him. Everybody was waiting on his approval. If they had a problem, it was like, where's Moses? Where's Moses? And Jethro sat Moses down and goes, you can't do this anymore. Things are changing. You're burning yourself out. You're wearing yourself out. He said, you need to put people in place. In verse 17, it says, this is not good. You're going to wear yourself out. This is what happens when we try to do everything ourselves and we are not investing in people to help us do it. So he developed a system. Now in church world, it's called the Jethro principle, where you have teams of people, leaders over leaders. Number two, we lose confidence. Because when you have a good team around you, you feel pretty confident. The synergy, the momentum, the fact that you know that this isn't up to just me. Like, I got people around me. Like, if I have a weak day, I have a day where I'm not totally on, I just know I have a powerful team that can step up, right? Like, if you're leading a team and someone gets sick, you just know next man up. You know what I mean? We lose confidence. Number three, we also lose vision. When we're not making leaders around us, it limits our vision. We can't accomplish what we want to. We have dreams and visions, and we saw, I don't know if you ever do this, but sometimes I don't dream because I'm just going to be frustrated that I can't do it because I don't have enough leaders around me. It's like, man, what if we had more people? Now, when we were college pastors here in Conway, we had a lot of momentum. I mean, big, huge days, lots of college students. Some of you were a part of that ministry, Justin, Nick, some of you. And we ended up having a large leadership team, 50 leaders. I mean, it was some of the greatest times of my life. But there was one day where I was like, I would go to leadership meetings and I would I would teach like I'm teaching the leaders. And it didn't feel like I was teaching leaders. It felt like I was teaching followers how to lead. And I realized I had a leadership team full of followers. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Because back then our system was, if you came to me and you said, I want to be a leader, I was like, well, it's Thursday night, leadership meeting. You're signed up. Because we desperately needed people to help. As we grew and as we got more strategic, I realized I'd rather have 8 leaders in the room than 50 of I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're there for the right purpose. I don't know if they're ready for this. You know, like, I don't even know if they really want to lead, or if they just want more friends, or if they just want community, or if they just want to be a part of a cool club. And so we started to develop systems, and because what I realized is, like, followers on a leadership team will just attract more followers, and then vice versa. Leaders multiply themselves. And so I think it has a lot to do with how you choose leaders and how your system is. So how do I make leaders? I'm just going to run through these. I'm going to give you lots of practical things to write down. But how do I make leaders? Number one, choose them. Choose them. Now, some of the things I'm going to say, different seasons of ministry. Like when we first moved to Fayetteville, I didn't know anybody in the city. It's crazy how separated I was from Northwest Arkansas. I moved there. I knew 2 families in the city, and they didn't even go to our church. And they weren't going to go to our church. They were already planning a church. So we did things a little differently than this cute little teaching. It was like, you're breathing and you love God, sort of, and you want to help. You're on the host team, or whatever. You're our head worship leader, whatever. So there's different, when you're starting a ministry, some of these rules, whatever, but these are just some suggestions, some things. But Jesus handpicked his disciples. He said, there's Peter, James, John, I choose you, And Jesus was inclusive with his message of the gospel, but he was somewhat, I hate to use this term, exclusive with the people he invested in. And we all love people. We all want everyone to have their place in the church, which is true. Everybody has a part to play in the body of Christ. But when it comes to your inner circle, people that you're investing in, who is that for you? And you have the opportunity to actually choose those people. Because ministry is, like Pastor Darren was saying, we want to be in it for the long haul. Like, we want to be in ministry forever. So we better love who we do it around. Yeah. We better like who we do it around. It better feel productive when we meet with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, and we have a lot of flexibility and freedom at New Life to develop our schedule and meet with the people that we want to. And so we get to choose our leaders. And our leaders reflect us. Like, they're a reflection of us. So we get to set the standard. And what you allow is reproduced. And eventually, the wrong people that you put in the wrong place, they multiply and they reproduce. That's what leadership does, whether they're leaders or not. That's what we want to happen. So it's very careful, the leaders. It's very important, the leaders that we choose. So here's just a question for you. You can think about it. And some of you don't have teams, but a lot of you do. Let's just think of the leaders that you have right now. And don't answer this out loud, and you can think about it later if you want to. Would you be excited about reproducing and multiplying the leaders that you have right now? Try to avoid nodding your head, yes or no, because someone may be sitting behind you. Some people came in late, your leaders on your team. Would you be excited about reproducing and multiplying the team? Are you proud of the team that you've created? And it's okay if you say no, because you can change it. You can change it. We changed it. Our leadership team went from 50 to 2 in about 6 months. And I prayed that would happen. I wanted to hit the reset button. And so there was no bad blood. It was time to rebuild things. And we did. And that's when the whole find your place thing, and a lot of leaders came out of Elevation that are here today, and a lot of it was because of the structure that was rebuilt, that was intentional, strategic, and it was on purpose. And Pastor Rick helped me with a lot of that, with gathering college students and then filtering them out into serving roles and serving with their gift. And it was a pretty special season in my life. Would you be excited about reproducing and multiplying your team? 2 Timothy 2, verse 2 says, "And the things you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others." And Exodus 18:21, the story that I just mentioned, Jethro, old Jethro, says, "But select capable men from all the people." So not just any people, capable people. Men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them, meaning give them authority. Appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. And some leaders will come to you, but a lot of the leaders you'll have to go to them. Garrett Matsuyama is right here. Raise your hand in case someone doesn't know you. Garrett has been helping us since he was a freshman in college. He got saved in our youth group. Not I wasn't the pastor, but it was before I was even around. He got saved in the youth group at New Life in Maumelle back in the skating rink days. And but when he came to college, he came to UCA. And I remember my wife she would see him walk out of elevation service on Sunday nights and not talk to anybody and just walk out. She says, you need to go after that guy. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, I don't know. You just need to get him. So back then he was about 50 pounds heavier, but all muscle. Looked like a bodybuilder. Looked like a cartoon character. And I said, hey man, you want to go Smoothie King? Because that's the only way I could buy him a protein shake, you know. He'd probably love that. And man, he had so much leadership gifts. And I did for him probably what Noble did for me. And just some people you have to choose them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say, I see something in you. Hey, I need you, you know. And you're gonna fail at that sometimes. Some people are like, I don't want to help you. I like my life of selfishness and whatever, you know. I'm not called, you know. I don't know what y'all, you know. I don't want to help. That's happened to me several times. Like, hey man, I see something in you. It's like, well, I just want to be a chiropractor or whatever, you know, like whatever. So, but you gotta choose people, and to me, there's a difference between a believer and someone has a gift of leadership. People that have the gift of leadership are going to multiply leaders, and everyone has their place. Not everyone is a natural-born leader. Some people can learn it, but a lot of people they need for you to invite them into leadership. Real quick, and I don't know who came up with this, John Maxwell, Pastor Rick, Max Lucado, I don't know. I've kind of modified a little bit. 6 C's of choosing leaders. This is a little template as you start to choose leaders, as you continue to evaluate who you're around. The 6 C's of choosing leaders. Number 1, character. Are they respectable? Character. You want people that have character. You want people that you don't have to worry about, are they going to misrepresent God or the church or you know. Things like honesty, humility, dependability, selfless. Like questions you would want to ask yourself, is there anything that would disqualify them from leading others? You know, will their character be able to sustain their influence? Is their heart truly to serve? You know what I mean? Like, do they really want to serve people, or do they just want to be cool? Or do they just want to have a position? We've all been around people like that. You don't want people like that on your team. It'd be better to just not have any help than to have the wrong help, right? People that want a position, people that are going behind your back. So just character. Number 2, competence. Are they good at what they do? I mean, there's been times I've put people in positions where they weren't even good at that position. It's like, well, that's not, then they feel like a failure, but it's not their fault because they're good at something. They fail because I put them in the wrong spot. So are they qualified? You know, Pastor Rick talks about how like some people are willing, but they're not able in certain areas. And some people are able, but they're not willing. We want people that are willing and able.
That's right.
Leaders that want to pour out their lives. Do they have great work ethics? Questions to ask. Do they get things done? I know I want to be around people that work. I don't want to have to get their motor running, you know, like I want people that wake up every day and they love to work. Why? Because I love to work. So I want to be around people that love to work like I love to work. And if I don't, I'm just going to be frustrated. Whether that's right or wrong, we get to choose our leaders. So I want to choose people that not are just like me, but have some core qualities that I like the environment to be like, you know? So do they have great work ethic? Do they have the required skills? Do they accept ownership? Do they want to do something for God? Is anyone following them? Do they speak up in a group? Are they solution oriented? These are just some questions. Number 3, chemistry. Are they easy to be around? Are they easy to be around? At NLC, we've all heard the term divine flow. Probably don't use it as much as we used to. But that's what it means, just chemistry. Just, man, if I'm having a staff meeting in my home, I want to flow. I want it to, we don't have to be just like one another. That would be foolish. But I want there to be a synergy. I want it to be people that want to be there. I want it to be people that like me and my family. I I just do. I want it to be, I don't want it to feel like work, even though this is a job, it's a calling, it's a marathon. I want it to be people I gel with, that feel like family. When I invest in people, I invest in my entire life into them. So I'm going to pour out my life. You're going to know my kid's name. You're going to be at our birthday parties. I mean, it's family. We're building lives. We're building people, spending a lot of time. So I want it to be people that like me back. I want there to be some sort of chemistry that, you know what, this is fun. We're dreaming together. We're doing this together. We're friends. So questions asked, do you like being around them? Here's one. Do they energize you? Are they easy for you? Is it natural? Do you look forward to meeting with them? Number 4, calendar. Are they available? Calendar. Are they available? You know, leadership takes time. Time that you could be spending doing other things. You know, some people are able, but they're not willing to sacrifice the time. Some people are willing and able, but they just can't right now. There's a family in our church. They are so busy with they're both working full-time jobs. They have 3 kids, and they're all doing sports. They love the church. They just don't have time right now. There may be a season in the future where they do have time to invest heavily in the church. Right now, they just don't have time, and it's unfortunate. It's like, we'll see you later sometime, you know, like maybe. But right now, they just don't have time. And if you put people that don't have time into leadership responsibilities, they're not going to do a good job. They're going to always feel like a failure, and you're going to be mad. Because you'd be like, what? Why didn't you do? Like, man, I was going to my kid's t-ball game. You're like, oh, yeah, that's more important. But, you know, so time, calendar, has nothing to do with character or ability, just has to do with time. Questions asked, can they meet the time commitment? Can they fulfill their role with excellence? Do they tend to overcommit? Calendar. Number 5, charisma. Are they great with people? Are they great with people? Dictionary.com, there's a definition of charisma: a spiritual power, a personal quality that gives an individual influence or authority over large numbers of people. Webster definition: a special magnetic charm or appeal. That's what charisma means. Bible says, love God, love people. Loving people is the second greatest commandment. And what I have resolved in my own heart, because I grew up shy. I know it's maybe weird, maybe, because maybe some of you know that I probably teach in Fayetteville almost every week, speak in front of crowds, have to be around people. I grew up shy. I would hide behind my mom's leg, and people try to talk to me, and I would hide. And even as I got older, I just, it's not natural for me to be a leader in charge, right? I didn't choose that, it chose me. It's sort of like the thug life. So I just have accepted that this is where God has led me, and I'm going to own it, and I'm going to do it faithfully, but it's not natural. I had to learn how to win people, how to be good with people, and my resolve is if we have to love people, which we do, and then we have to be good with people. We have to at least be willing to learn how to be good with people. And I used to wait tables when I was in college over here. It's not open anymore. We used to call it the Fish House in Conway. I know some of you don't live in Conway, and I remember one time, because I learned a lot through that season, but one time this elderly couple got mad at me because I gave them the wrong order. But I didn't give them the wrong order. I gave them the order they ordered. So I told them about it. They were like, this ain't right. I said, sir, you ordered the bite with coleslaw and green pickles or whatever. And they're like, no, I didn't. I start arguing with them. We don't do that as a server. How many of you waited tables before? You don't do that. Well, my boss was like 2 booths down watching me. I didn't know he was there. He called me into his office. He said, Jason, this is recording, right? Okay.
We covered up?
No, it's fine. Okay. I just won't say it. He said, you're coming across like a hole. And And I said, what? I didn't know what he was talking about. He said, you're coming across like a... I said, I didn't know that, sorry. And he said, just, the customer's always right. He started teaching me, whatever. And so from there, I was like, learn how to deal with people, had to be nice to all these rude people, and that's really served me the rest of my life. Because you're just around people all the time that you don't want to agree with, and you don't want to always serve, but you got to be great with people. And I've had to learn over the years. I still constantly am working on my tone of voice. And she'd be like, why'd you say that to me that way? I'm like, I just said it. She's like, but you said it like this. I said, I just said it. She's like, what? Do I need to use that?
The rain. It'll probably help you.
The rain. Okay. Check.
If you don't want to, you don't
no,
have to.
I'm fine to use it. So she'd be like, but your facial expression. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I've had to work on my face. I've had to work on my inflection. I've had to work on everything. I don't know. But are they great with people? Just charisma. Like, do people want to be around them? And this is something that not everybody has naturally. You can learn this. We have to be good with people. If our greatest cause is winning people to Jesus, we have to be pretty decent at people. Questions asked, do they work well with people? Do they have a positive attitude? Can they hold a conversation with anyone? One time we interviewed a leader to lead a Bible study, and the whole interview, it was a conversation, but we were asking questions, and she cried through the whole thing. What makes you want to be a leader? I don't know, it's just loving people. Okay. What's your heart, your passion for the kind of group you want to lead? Just to get girls together for Jesus. She was crying because she was nervous. It was really sad. And we told her, it's like, you're not ready to lead a group. Because if you can't, you're going to cry every time that you speak. But here's some things that you can work on. And it helped her. She got better. We would have been setting her up to fail, And so, can they hold a conversation with anyone? Can they light up a room if they need to? Can they focus on others? Are they intimidated by people? Those are some questions to ask. And then the last C is compliance. Basically, are they teachable? Compliance, are they teachable? And to me, this is like the non-negotiable. Like the other things you can work on, but it's hard for me to want to lead someone that I can't say, hey, please don't do that again. Hey, that was weird. Let's not be weird. Here's why it was weird. I can't handle that. I cannot handle people that cannot receive any sort of criticism or correction. Yeah. I just don't want to be around those kind of people. I love them, wish them the best, but if you're going to be leading around me, I just want to be able to speak into your life. I want to be able to point out some things. When it comes to people skills or positive attitude, qualities, and it's just a drag to lead people that you're afraid to confront because you're worried about if they're going to get weird or if they're going to act like you're an idiot, but you're the leader or you're in charge of this area and you're the one, it reflects you and you're the one that gets measured on it, but you can't even talk to the people helping you on how to do it the right way. You don't have to do it that way. You get to choose who helps you do things. And there's people out there that would love to do it the right way, the way that you see it needs to be done. So, questions, can they receive correction? Are they sensitive or defensive? Are they humble? Are they hard to lead? Can they admit weakness? Do they ask questions? So those are the 6 C's by whoever came up with them. How do I make leaders? Number 1, you choose them. Number 2, show them. Show them. In fact, over the years, let's just take Pastor Rick. I've learned a lot from him. He has taught me things. I've sat under his preaching. I've been in staff meetings where he's taught. We've had one-on-one conversations where he's taught me things. I would say the majority of what I learned from him is not what he's taught me. It's what I've caught from being around him. The way that he treats people in the community. The way that he handles awkward situations. The way that he brings life to a room. the way that he speaks to someone that he knows is downcast and having a hard time. The way that he handles people that used to be on staff and they're not on staff anymore. Just the way that he treats people, the way that he's modeled his life, the way he walks through a crowd, the way that he does altar calls, the way that he handles babies crying in the sanctuary. There's been no teaching on those things. It's been what I've caught, and it has served me. 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1 says, follow me as I follow Christ. Paul is saying, hey, I'm going this way, follow me. It's the way that you live. I wrote this down. Focus on how you live, focus on how you live more than what you teach. Focus on how you live more than what you teach. Did you know that just by being a Christian and not being weird, you're like being a leader? Like just by being a person that says they believe in Jesus and not being judgmental and not being weird, you're an influencer. Because it's the way you live. Because people pay more attention to that than what you teach. So show them. Number 3, develop them. Develop them. When you develop someone, you cause them to grow. You teach them, you train them, you tell them what you want, you give them clear expectations, you follow up with them, you give them deadlines, you follow up, you debrief. These are learning, teaching moments. These are moments that it's hands-on learning, hands-on ministry. And you teach them how to do it. And teaching and training, it instills confidence in people. People are not going to know how to do the things that you want them to do. So you got to teach them. Simple training method, and I believe this is John Maxwell. Step 1, I do it. Step 2, I do it and you watch. Step 3, you do it, I watch. Step 4, you do it all by yourself. And step 5, you do it and someone else watches. They're getting people to help them. So teaching them how to do it, developing them. Number 4, place them. How do we make leaders? Place them. Romans 12 verse 6. In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. Did y'all ever grow up like with that gifted and talented program? What a demoralizing name for a program. Gifted and talented. I remember my friends getting their stuff together, and it was not time for like recess or lunch, or it wasn't the end of the school day, and they're getting their stuff together. This is like 5th grade. I'm like, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to gifted and talented. Like, what's gifted and talented? Oh, it's a special program. He's like, well, why am I not gifted and talented? My mom says I'm gifted. Like, it's just so funny. They named it Gifted and Talented Program. So weird. How condescending is that? But the Bible says we're all gifted and talented. And putting people in the right place is an amazing feeling. When you can see them soar because they're doing things they're good at and they're enjoying them, and they're setting them up to succeed. So placing them in the right spot, that takes wisdom on the leader's end. So placing them. Number 5, sharpen them. Sharpen them. Proverbs 27 verse 17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And I think that it's our job as leaders to tell the people that are leading underneath us what strengths they have and how to build on them. This is what you're good at. You need to do more of this. You are amazing at this. You are gifted. This is what God has given you. Not everybody's like this. You have a special ability to do this. You got to understand, this is a gift. You didn't earn it. God gave it to you. You're natural at it. You need to do more of it. And then we also have to address weaknesses. Hey, you think you're good at this. You're not. Hey, you could be better at this if you work really hard. Sharpening people, communicating what you see in them. And I remember. You just got to be honest with people. I remember this guy in Elevation. He was going around and he was dating a bunch of girls and leading them astray. He's kind of like a wolf, you know. He's in this room right now. I'm kidding. Oh no! And I called him into my office, and I was like, "Hey, why are you doing this? Why are you going around? Why are you sleeping around? Why are you doing this?" He's just like, "We'd never had a conversation before." I said, "Why are you doing this?" He said, "I'm not doing that." I said, "Yeah, you are." He said, "No, I've never done that." I said, "Yeah, you have." "Why are you doing it?" He broke. And I don't know if that helped him. It gave him an opportunity to be helped, you know. And every now and then, we got to have the guts to challenge people. Because it's not love if you're like loving them as they walk off a cliff. Love you, man. We gotta confront people, we gotta communicate, we gotta sharpen people. And what you allow will be repeated. What you allow will be repeated. There's certain things we just can't allow as leaders. We have to sharpen people. I tell the people on our staff, this may be weird, but I said, I want you to ask me my opinion on how you did. Like our worship leader, I said, every week I want you to ask me how you did. Okay. I said, because I don't want to have to tell you. Because it makes me feel like you don't want it. So if you want it, I want you to ask me how you think I thought you did.
That's good.
Because I want to sharpen you, but I don't want to feel like I'm dragging you into a room and I have to always be the one to initiate. I don't mind doing it, but it would be better if you would just ask me.
That's really good, Jason.
Sharpen them. We need to be sharpened. Proverbs 12:15. The way of a fool seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. We need to acquire a taste for criticism. This is for us too. I remember in this room, well, it was probably back there because we expanded. We did here too. A little bit there, a little bit of here. When I would preach at Elevation and a little bit at Midtown. Ashley, my wife, she would always forget to bring a notepad. And I would ask her, I was like, give me some tips, give me some feedback on my speaking. It's like, if God called me to preach, I want to preach well. I don't want to be weird. I don't want to do anything that's ineffective. I want to be good at what I do. So she would always forget to bring, this is before, we probably had like a StarTAC phone, flip phone or something. And she would take a tithe envelope and she would write, down things I did well, things that made sense, things that were powerful, things that didn't go over well, maybe jokes that didn't land, Gallo knows what I'm talking about. and every Sunday night, we pulled out of this parking lot, like, where's that envelope? And it was like gold to me. And some of them would be like, it would hurt a little bit, sting a little bit, She's like, you did this weird thing with your ear. I'm like, what are you talking about? But it was like, I would make adjustments. She sharpened me. So we need to acquire a taste.
Yeah.
Criticism. Number 6. And I think I actually put, yeah, that's right. Okay. Number 6, encourage them. Encourage them. Number 6 as we close. Can I get keys up here? Yeah, it's hard to do, Tanner. It's hard to do like practical things when there's keys playing.
It was tough.
Yeah.
I was like, Brandon, you can keep going if you want. I don't think you're supposed to.
Oh man. Encourage them about the vision of everything. Vision leaks. It's hard for people to remember the vision, why they're doing what they're doing. To encourage them, hey, this is why it's important. We have to do this to our greeters. Hey, you're the first impression, you and the parking team, like the first impression of our church. You're winning people to the Lord by opening a door and smiling, being warm, and friendly. Hey, by remembering people's names. Can you believe? I cannot believe the amount of people that have joined our church because someone remembered their name. Yeah. That's not even in Scripture. It's like, I mean, God remembers our name, but we're not even expected to remember people's names. It's just by being friendly, reminding people of the vision of everything. Hey, this is why Google Docs needs to be organized. This is why you need to utilize Fellowship One, even though everyone doesn't love it the best. This is why you need to be on time. Hey, this is why, we need to prepare ahead of time. And we don't want people to feel like because the event was an afterthought to us that they're an afterthought. Because they're going and getting their daughter and taking them to a father-daughter ball that they paid money for, and we're not prepared for it.
Come on, bro.
So that's not okay. Here's the vision of why we need to prepare. Not just, we need to be prepared. Here's the vision. Why? Because when people walk in, we want them to feel honored. Because honor is a biblical quality, and we can actually show people Jesus just by being prepared and excellent. Anyway, vision about everything. We have to remind people why. I have to do this to our staff, our leaders. I have to do this to my wife. I have to do this to our kids. We sit our kids down. Here's why our family's different. Here's why you don't get Sundays to yourself. You don't get me. Here's why. Our family is called by God to bless people, to encourage people, to be ministers of the gospel to this city. This is who we are. This is why we're doing it. Encourage them in their strengths. There's a principle. It's to focus 80% of your attention on developing the best 20% of your leaders. Pareto principle. 80% of your attention on developing the best 20% of your leaders by encouraging them and reminding them of the vision, by investing in them. So is there any questions? We have like 10 minutes. I'm just going to pray. Pray with me. What were they again? I'm just kidding. Which one's the hardest to teach? I think it's a great question. Man, I think charisma might be. I don't know. It was hard for me to be taught how to be more outgoing and good with people. I think some people are just naturally introverted and shy, and that's okay. But it's hard, that tension between like, this is who I naturally am and it's okay and I need my time without people. But I also need to learn how, when I am with people, I am on and I care and I show people that I care. But then it's okay to go home and shut the blinds and whatever. And I've had to learn that balance. You know what I mean? Like, when I go out in public, I'm a leader in our community. Mm. And it doesn't matter if I'm on or not. People are looking at me like I'm a leader in my community. I can't go to the gym without preparing to go to the gym. So, and even just if I wasn't the pastor, I'm still a leader in our community because we've all been called to be a witness to people. So, I think it's the hardest thing to teach because people that are introverted naturally are like, I don't have to be like that. I don't want to be like that, need to be like that. And I'm not a people person. I don't want to be the COA. And that's not really what I mean by, I'm just saying we have to be decent with people. Any other questions?
Yeah, when teaching somebody something, what is the line or the balance between like a passive, easy, like, hey man, you could be better at this, to like a sit down, hey, I need to teach you this. You know what I mean? Like, when is it okay to even, right before, like, say you don't have much time and you just saw something in somebody, almost like encouraging them to get better at this, or to actually shake their head, like my dad says sometimes, grab their face and be like, you got to get this.
I think it's a great question. I think it has a lot to do with your age. It has a lot to do with the relational equity you have with the person. And it has to do with what you've prepared them for. So, what was the question? Oh yeah, they can't hear the question. how do you ask that question simply?
I know.
How do you, the question was, how do you know when to really get on people? Or gently say, you might sort of want to do that. Was that the question?
Yeah, it's close enough. We can work on your translation.
Yeah. Here, you ask the question.
Okay. Oh, I see.
All right, I'm going to try to explain this again for everybody who couldn't hear. Basically, what's the balance between if you have somebody on your team, like maybe you don't have time to have a full conversation, hey, you need to get better at this, but like what is the balance between, hey, here's what you need to get better at, or sitting them down and really just like teaching them all these things they can get better? Is there an instance that's every instance is different, or is it relationship as well? I don't know. It's really broad. Basically, when is it okay to gently correct? When does it need to be more serious?
Yeah, I mean, maybe at my older age, I'm 38, I will just do it if I want to, if I feel like it's needed. But depending on how my relationship with that person and what I've prepared them for, and you know, if I haven't said, hey, there's gonna be times where I correct you, or I don't even know if I use that language. There's gonna be times where I ask for certain things. I don't want you to make me feel weird about that. I tell people that too. I'm like, hey, you're gonna be on a lot of what I deal with directly as staff now. You're gonna be on this staff. Don't make me feel weird if I ask for something. Is that cool? And this is before they come on staff. See, and most of our staff is volunteer, almost all of it. So don't make me feel weird about leading. I never wanted to lead. I don't have an agenda. This is just what's happened. And so, but I'm responsible to God about leading the church. And so if I ask you for something, don't make me feel weird about it. Okay? If you're going to make me feel weird about it, don't do this. Don't be on staff. So in the moment, it'll be a, hey, can you do that for me? And then we'll talk later. And I'll follow up on it. And I will be very honest with them. I always lean on honesty. Always.
Can I follow up on that?
You can.
What about when they need so much correction it's starting to affect the relationship?
You failed. I don't know. It's starting to affect the relationship. Well, I've definitely dealt with that. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I think you look at moving on or having really tough conversations and let it affect the relationship. Make sure you've done all that you can do, that you're pure and innocent in your heart, and that, you know, you can't always control close relationships. You know what I mean? So if somebody wants to get weird, you can't control it. So as long as you're affirming them, you're communicating well, you're not being toxic, you're not being weird. It's clear expectations. You're not being some weird leader. You're not demanding too much. You're not overworking them. You're doing everything right. You can't really control that. But I would say dig in. Keep getting even more honest. Hey, what's up? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you being weird? Don't be weird. I've had so many of those conversations. Ben, did you have a question?
Yes, of course. About like if you have somebody that is really strong in their opinions, you know, kind of with compliance part. I'm not very confrontational most of the time, but
You're not?
I think sometimes when I like, you know, when I'll address this person with like, hey, let's try this, they'll always back up with 5 reasons why their way is the right way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, how do I lead that? Because this person is very skilled in their gifting, but I can see this being a character issue, and I also, you know, so it's like I want to have a conversation with them about this. Hey, maybe he's more open to other people's, you know.
You just got to tell them. I mean, to me, you just got to say, hey, you have the whole sandwich effect, positive. Hey, you're so gifted. You're anointed. It's obviously God's called you to ministry. You sacrifice so much of your time for what you do. I love you as a person. I have to speak this to you. I have to talk to you because I'm a bad leader if I don't, and you won't respect me if I don't. And I'm your friend too. I'm your leader and your friend. So I have 2 reasons to tell you this. And then follow up with another. I mean, you just got to say it and see what happens.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
So one thing that I've really learned a lot this past year is I've had to have a lot of those conversations this past year, a lot more than I wanted. And every time I went into it, I knew that they weren't going to agree with me. And so I just kind of laid it out there like Jason said, and I said, I know you don't agree with me. All I'm asking you to do is just pray about it and then just see what God has for you to say about it. And let's come back and talk about it later on. But I know you don't see where I'm coming from on this, but just go with me on this. See if there's any truth at all to what I'm bringing to you.
Great. All right, I'm going to pray. Hey, this is a lot of stuff. I think just take a couple things from this, even if you just take a couple things from this, and just start to evaluate the people around you. And if anything, maybe it'll give you just a new filter for like, all right, I'm going to try to get a couple great people around me instead of 10, that will do just a little. I'm going to get some quality people around me that I gel with, that I want to be around, and we're going to do more without it exhausting me. So I want to pray over you. God, thank you for all these leaders here. You know their responsibility, and you know the tensions that they face today. And I pray that you would send help. Send the right helpers, the right people, the right leaders. And I pray that there will be people that they can invest in, that will multiply, and we'll get so much done for you. And reaching people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, man.
Great, bro.
Good job.